Do you think that you're too busy for the AIP diet? Think again. I know what it's like to juggle work and family and everything in between. And the last thing that you want is to feel like you have to spend hours in the kitchen just to follow this diet. AIP doesn't have to take over your life. You don't need complicated recipes, and you definitely don't need to be a gourmet chef. And that's why today I want to give you 5 simple but high impact strategies that are going to help AIP fit into your busy lifestyle. And make sure that you stick around until the end because I have a great free resource for you, which is going to help you to identify what's triggering your flare-ups, how your gut health is connected to your symptoms, and the top 15 nutrients that you need to start healing and calming your autoimmune flare-ups. Okay, let's get started with the biggest game changer, which is keeping your meals simple. This is a big one. And it's because one of the big mistakes that I see with my clients is that they tend to overcomplicate AIP meals. I promise that you do not need to spend hours cooking elaborate recipes. I mean, if cooking is your thing, then go ahead and do that, but you don't have to do that to be successful on the AIP diet. So here's what I want you to try instead. I have a 5-minute formula, 5-minute meal formula to build a meal. It's going to help you cut way back on how long it takes for you to put together a meal. So here it is. Each meal is going to need to include protein, complex carbohydrates, healthy fat, and vegetables. That's it. That's all it is. Super simple, super effective. So you might be thinking, Jen, what are you talking about? Well, how can I incorporate all of those components in a meal and keep it simple? Well, here are some examples. You could do grilled salmon and roasted butternut squash with some olive oil drizzled over sauteed spinach. Or you could do some ground turkey and mashed sweet potatoes, avocado slices, and steamed asparagus. You could also do some shredded chicken, which you could do in the crock pot, and some plantain chips with some AIP-friendly guacamole and a side salad. So if you see the pattern there, these are all just like whole foods that are pretty simple to make. You can make them in advance, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you can just grab these things right out of your refrigerator and put together a really simple meal by just keeping those main food groups kind of in mind. Again, it's just protein, complex carbs, healthy fats, and veggies. That's all I'm talking about here when I'm talking about the 5-minute meal formula. Also, I just want to say that carbs are crucial for your energy, especially when you're a woman who's a busy professional and you're trying to balance work and family and you know, just all the things. So don't skip your starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes and butternut squash and plantains and cassava. And here's a pro tip. If you batch cook your proteins and your starchy carbs in advance, it will save you so much time. Now, I think that batch cooking, meaning that you cook several portions of a food at once, is a huge game changer because it's going to cut out all of the time during the week when you need to stop and think, what am I going to eat? Do I have all of the ingredients? How many of us do that throughout the week? I know that I do. If you do that, click on the like button. Now, batch cooking is super helpful for me because I tend to get in the middle of a project and I don't have the time to just stop everything and take a 2-hour break to cook a meal. So having pre-cooked foods that I can just grab out of the fridge and warm up is so helpful. So something that I do is I like to saute onions and cabbage and beef together. I just love those flavors together. And I eat that throughout the week. And then I'll also put in a tray of sweet potatoes in the oven and I'll bake them all at the same time so that when I open the refrigerator, I have food to eat. It's all prepared and I don't really have to think about it. And this is just one example. So when you follow my 5-minute meal formula and you cook in advance, you can really throw together a balanced AIP meal in just a few minutes. Now, one of the secrets to staying on track with AIP is to have the right foods on hand so that you never feel stuck. If you don't have AIP-friendly foods on hand, it's so much easier to give in and eat something that might lead to a flare-up and kind of move you backwards in the healing process. And we don't want to do that. So I want to give you a few AIP-friendly staples that I always recommend keeping on hand so that you don't have to worry about backtracking. So these are things like frozen proteins. So I'm talking about frozen fish and seafood and beef, pork, liver, lamb. Any frozen proteins that you can keep in the freezer are great because they're nutrient dense and keeping them in the freezer will definitely save you a trip to the store. And all that you need to do is just think ahead, thaw it out, or in some cases you can just put it in the crock pot or right in the Instant Pot frozen and walk away. Frozen veggies are another staple. You can steam them, you can roast them, they can be ready within minutes. So rice cauliflower is one of my favorites because it's so versatile and you can incorporate it into so many meals, even smoothies, believe it or not. Frozen fruit is another staple, and especially berries. Now, all fruit is great. I encourage you to eat all the fruits, but berries are especially fantastic on the AIP diet because they're low in sugar and they're high in antioxidants. And one of my favorite quick AIP snacks is a handful of berries and some coconut milk yogurt. So just keep that in mind. Really easy to throw together. AIP grab and go snacks are also great to have on hand. And when I talk about grab and go, I'm talking about things like beef sticks and coconut chips, avocado, unsweetened coconut milk yogurt, seaweed snacks, bone broth. These types of foods are widely available at most grocery stores, and they can be a lifesaver, especially if you're running out the door, you're running short on time, and you're hungry. Finally, I just want to mention some powdered proteins that you can keep on hand to make a fast and really balanced smoothie. My favorite powdered proteins for the AIP diet are grass-fed collagen powder and grass-fed beef protein isolate. I love that, especially the beef protein isolate, because it's a complete source of protein. And so I can just, if I'm in a rush, I can throw that into a blender and make a really great smoothie. When your kitchen is set up for success, eating AIP becomes automatic. And I'm curious to know, let me know in the comments, is there anything that is making you nervous about starting the AIP diet? Put that in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Step 3 is eating out and making AIP travel friendly. Okay, so first let's talk about eating out, because I know you probably don't want to be stuck cooking 24/7. The AIP is definitely doable at most restaurants. You just have to plan ahead. So before you go, I want you to check the online menu, because this way you can have a game plan and you won't feel overwhelmed when you go to order. When you get to the restaurant, you want to order foods like grilled meats and fish or seafood. And remember to ask for no marinades and no sauces, because there are a lot of sneaky ingredients in marinades and sauces that are not AIP friendly. They love to throw flour in everything. Another food that you can ask for are steamed vegetables or roasted vegetables. And don't be afraid to ask for simple sides like avocado slices and fresh fruit. They are fantastic. And you can even ask for things like extra vegetables. And also, don't be afraid to ask questions. I promise you that most servers are really happy to help you, especially if you're kind about it. So you can say something like, hey, I have some food sensitivities and this is what I'd like to order. Can I have that without the, and then you can name the ingredients or the foods that you don't want. And then you could always say, can I have it with extra veggies or whatever it may be, like a side of fresh fruit. Don't be afraid to customize your order. And you can even call ahead to make sure that the restaurant can accommodate you. I've done this so many times before, and restaurants are usually really accommodating. As long as you ask nicely, you'll be surprised how flexible they can be. Now, I know that time is one of your biggest obstacles, so I think that it's really important to make cooking as easy as possible. So here are 3 ways to make AIP cooking work when you have a busy lifestyle. The first one is batch cooking, which I already talked about earlier, so I won't get into the details of that, but batch cooking, again, is amazing. I'm a big fan. Also, try to use time-saving kitchen tools like an Instant Pot, a crock pot, and even a simple blender. Appliances like these can actually cut your cooking time in half, which would be amazing, right? And keep it simple. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. I think that incorporating leftovers throughout the week is a huge way to save both time and money, so don't be afraid to eat those leftovers. Also, I just want to say that planning ahead makes all the difference. So if you've got pre-cooked food ready to go, you're never going to feel stuck or tempted to grab something that just doesn't serve you. If these time-saving strategies sound like they'd be helpful for you, go ahead and click on the like button. Also, if the thought of meal planning and grocery shopping and cooking makes you feel really stressed out, let me help you with that. Inside my Autoimmune Harmony program, I'm going to walk you through each step of the AIP diet, and you're going to get customized meal collections that are based on your schedule and your food preferences. You're going to get meal plans and recipes and grocery lists that simplify everything for you. And you're going to get my support and guidance so that you don't feel lost at any point in the process. So if this sounds like it's exactly what you need, go ahead and click on the link below and schedule a free autoimmune insight session with me so that we can discuss your struggles and find out if Autoimmune Harmony is the right fit for you. You make thousands, that's right, thousands of decisions every day. Decisions about your job. Maybe you have your own business. Decisions about your kids and your family. Lots of decisions. And this can really add to your stress. So let's make food one less thing to stress about. Here's how to do that. Try meal planning once a week. Don't waste your time deciding on what to eat at every meal, every day. So if grocery shopping feels way too stressful or time consuming, you can try something like grocery pickup and delivery. Walmart, Instacart, and Thrive Market are all examples of services that can save you so much time. Also, keep a list of go-to meals and snacks so that you always have an AIP option. The less that you have to think about AIP, the easier it becomes. And if the idea of taking all of these steps to calm your autoimmune flare-ups is making you feel overwhelmed and stressed out right now, don't worry, I've got you covered. You can go ahead and grab my free Autoimmune Harmony roadmap. It's right in the description box below. And I've created this roadmap to really help you begin to identify what's triggering your flare-ups and to understand how your gut health is connected to your symptoms and to learn the top 15 nutrients that I recommend, many of which are found in the AIP diet, by the way, that you incorporate into your daily meals so that you can start healing your gut and calming your flare-ups today. Go ahead and grab the roadmap. You can click on the link below, and it's going to take the guesswork out of what you need to focus on first so that you can start feeling better without feeling overwhelmed. In the next video, I'll share some of the biggest mistakes that I see women making on the AIP diet. Avoiding these mistakes could save you months of frustration, so don't miss it. Don't forget to subscribe so that you'll know as soon as that video is available, and I'll see you in the next one.